Hello, everybody, and welcome to WCBN Sports presentation of Michigan Soccer. Sunday matinee here at Soccer Stadium. Alongside Owen Crain, I'm Jared Greenspan. We'll be back in just a second for the open as we let you all listen in to the national anthem.
And join us in honoring America and those who protect it with the playing of our national anthem.
And so the pregame festivities, a little lengthy today, at last come to an end. It's Sunday and it's 1 p.m. That means it's time for football, just not the type you may envision. We're 1 week away from the NFL. Today, though, we have soccer, Michigan and Gonzaga. It's game 2 on the season for the Wolverines. A disheartening loss Thursday against Duquesne. Michigan more than doubled Duquesne's shot total. Owen, you were there for that. What went wrong, and what does Michigan have to do today to get that first win in the win column?
Well, Jared, first off, great to be back here on the radio with WCBN. Duquesne, the team came out strong, and like you said, the Wolverines did, in fact, double Duquesne's shot total. However, what they failed to do was actually put the shots on net. So the Wolverines with 21 shots to Duquesne's 8 on Thursday, but the Wolverines only actually placed 6 of those 21 on net. The Dukes of Duquesne, 7 of 8. One of those did end up going in, bringing us to the final score of 1-0. And the Wolverines really just weren't bringing that offensive energy that we've seen from them in the past. They had these shots, they had a few breakthroughs, but they were unable to create a sustained offensive force that allowed them to get true opportunities. A lot of these shots were coming from the sides, from the outsides. And while Duquesne's defense was doing a good job, the Wolverines did draw numerous corner kicks. They had 12 compared to Duquesne's 2, but still unable to convert on an opportunity like that.
Shaka Daly's group will try to right the ship today against the Bulldogs, who also enter this contest in search of their first win of the young season. Gonzaga dropped its season opener 3-1 against Denver on Thursday evening. Bulldogs and Wolverines, the first ever matchup on the pitch between these two programs. Both enter at 0-1. One team will be 0-2 after the day, and Michigan is going to hope that it doesn't find itself in that position. Both teams are out on the field now. We are about ready to go. Kevin Buka standing in the middle of the circle, wearing that captain armband over his left shoulder. And we are almost ready to go. Hayden Evans, the keeper today for Michigan, jumping in the air, landing on 2 feet. The referee blows the whistle, and away we go. Michigan and Gonzaga underway here at a beautiful day. Sunday matinee soccer at Soccer Stadium. Throw in on the far side for Gonzaga, down in the Bulldogs' end. Solid throw-in, headed by a Bulldog, out of bounds, and Michigan now with the throw-in. Michigan, it's important for the Wolverines to try and get something going early here, try to get that foul taste out of its mouth from Thursday's 1-0 loss. Throw-in comes into Pulselli. Leaves it for Rodriguez, has it taken away, and a Gonzaga player boots it way back down, back into Michigan's end. Ryan Schultz chasing after it, and now Evans calls it away at the edge of the box. Up the far side to Nolan Miller, into the middle, Quinn Rogers, back to Miller on the left side. He'll switch sides now, all the way to the near side. Jens Hoff with it, pressured by a Gonzaga player, back into the middle for Schultz. Schultz to the far side, Miller. Miller dribbling with the right foot, given space, goes for the pass, it's knocked away. Gonzaga has it The Bulldogs down the far side towards the middle. Gonzaga into the box. It's a cross and knocked away by Hoff, and then booted downfield towards Pulselli. Kept down in Michigan's end. It ricochets all the way back. Gonzaga has a chance, and it's saved by Evans.
Evans laying out to save that one, and a good stop on his part. Gonzaga with an early burst of energy, Jared.
So it's the Bulldogs, not the Wolverines, with the first opportunity of this game. Logan Dorsey creating some action in there, and now it's a corner kick for Gonzaga. From the far side, Evans on his toes, a cluster of players towards the box in the middle. Here comes the corner kick. It's launched in. Dorsey gets a head on it, but it skirts all the way to the back, and now it's cleared by Jason Buckner, who rifles it down the near side.
Buckner, one of the Wolverines defensemen who really held his own in the last game against Duquesne.
Sophomore from Cypress Bay. Rodriguez chasing down the far side. Nice slide tackle by Gonzaga. Michigan sticks with it, and then knocking it out of bounds is Al Hasnawi. Or they'll say last touch Gonzaga. Now Pulselli off the throw-in with a burst. Physical play down the far side. This time it's last touch by Gonzaga again. Another throw-in by Michigan. Deep down near Gonzaga's goal. It comes into Buca on the lip of the box. Buca tips back to Rodriguez. Rodriguez in the corner in a straitjacket. Works the end line. Knocked out of bounds. Last touch. Michigan. It'll be a goal kick for Gonzaga keeper.
And we were just talking about Buckner, the sophomore defender, notably playing quite high in Gonzaga's territory. They're moving up, looking for an opportunity to get a shot off. Of course, the Bulldogs gain possession before anything could happen.
Goal kick comes in from Johan Garibay, and it trickles all the way back toward the net for Hayden Evans. Now Michigan will look to work its way back up the field. Ryan Schultz given the middle. Back to Hoff, to Schultz. Switch fields to the far side. It goes to Miller. Miller dribbling with a left, cuts back towards the middle. Gives there for Rogers. Rogers switching directions, right back to Miller on the left side. Michigan looking to get something going here. Just getting underway here at UM Soccer Stadium. Michigan and Gonzaga, both teams winless in the young season. Rogers boots it up, looking for Buca. Buca gets a foot on it, now trying to stick with it, and he's shielded off by Gonzaga player. Now still fighting for it, winds up on the turf. And still jostling Buca, a diminutive stature, but holding his own. Right at midfield, Schultz able to win a tackle. Rogers up the near side, here's Buckner. Buckner dribbling with the right foot, cuts it back with the left. Waits for help, here's Rogers. Rogers leaves it for Buckner. Buckner towards the middle, finds Buca inside. Buca, a nice first touch, knocked to the turf. It's a play on, Buca sticks with it. Nearly loses his footing, he's stumbling, knocked to the turf again. And Gonzaga flubs the kick out of bounds, and I believe it's going to be a corner kick.
The Wolverines draw another. We'll see what they do here. It's going to be Buckner taking this one for Michigan.
It'll be a throw-in right at the corner. Buckner leaves it for Buca. Back to Buckner, tapped out of bounds by Gonzaga. Bulldogs playing very physical. It's RJ Stretch down there really banging with Kevin Buca. Rodriguez towards the middle as it knocked away. Still jostling for it. Shielded by a Gonzaga player. Buca there as well. Now Buckner knocks it out of bounds. And it's a Gonzaga throw-in. So good activity for Michigan. 5 minutes into this game. No score. Bulldogs and Wolverines.
Good start for them, too. We saw Gonzaga with the chance, but after that, it's been all blue.
The throw-in from Stretch. Shielded nicely. Rogers is there for Michigan. Now Rodriguez at the circle. Sent across to the far side. Wolverines right at midfield, and now they'll go back into their own territory and switch things around. Miller to Schultz in the middle. Schultz to Hoff. Hoff boots it upfield. Streaking behind the defense is Pulselli. Will he keep it in bounds? He cannot. Good idea by Michigan trying to force the envelope. Well, the Wolverines unable to capitalize.
A valiant attempt there to keep it in bounds by Pulselli. Almost got it. Just waved out. And from our vantage point, at least, just a matter of inches.
So Garibay with the goal kick. Goes for the short route this time, now in the middle, right at midfield, switching to the far side, a burst of speed behind the defense. Can they keep it in play? No, the ball too far, it goes out of bounds. Michigan will throw it in, that's Al Hasnawi. Searching for a teammate down in the Wolverines' territory. No score, Bulldogs and Wolverines. Michigan still searching for its first shot of the game as a player's knocked to the turf. That's going to be a whistle and a free kick for Michigan. The referee giving a talking to one of the Gonzaga players. 6+ minutes into this one. Schultz anchoring the defense. The senior switches to the near side for Hoff, the junior. And then Rogers finds Buckner up the near side. Buckner with some space, showing a nice touch, dribbling with the left, goes for the scissor kick. Leaves it back for Rogers. Rogers switches fields at midfield at Schultz. Give to the left side, running onto the ball is Miller. Miller for Martins. Martins for Rodriguez with that captain armband. Loops it in on the back line, looking for Buka. But pouncing on it is Garibay, and he'll put an end to that threat.
Another strong offensive drive from the Wolverines comes short, but it's good to see them applying this pressure early on.
Garibay with a booming goal kick, and again, it's way too far, goes all the way to Evans. Gathers with his feet and leaves it for Miller. It's the second time that Garibay has just boomed the kick. Perhaps ill-advised there. Rogers. Miller switches fields to the far side. It's taken by Miller. Miller pressured. Schultz to the near side now for Hoff. Hoff back to Evans, who gets into the action on the lip of the 18. Evans, far side feed goes to Miller. Miller booms with his right. Streaking is Al-Hasnawi, but he's not going to get there. It'll be Gonzaga throwing.
Let's go blue chant coming through the stadium. A much better crowd today than we saw for the opener with Duquesne. Stands are almost full on the near side, and the student section on the far side, especially given that classes haven't begun, at least 75% capacity.
And there were 472 people in attendance for the Thursday game. Oh, as Owen was saying, nearly full here. Cross comes in. Buka can't get ahead on it. It goes to the far side. Buckner providing pressure at the box. Gonzaga spins away from it. Now the Bulldogs on the counterattack, and a nice play by Rogers to shield him off. And now Michigan controls in the back. Schultz with a dangerous feed. Leaves it for Evans, and now they'll take care of it. Evans way out of his net. Hoff on the near side, right to a Gonzaga player. Heads in, and Hoff wins it right back and then gives it away again. Physical and sloppy play on both ends here as the ball sails into the stands. A Michigan throw incoming.
Absolutely. I don't think you can overestimate that physical aspect without seeing it with your own eyes. You've seen a lot of pushing and shoving, especially on the near side between Buka and Gonzaga's number 19, RJ Stretch.
Tensions are flaring. Both teams certainly hungry for a win. No one wants to fall to 0-2, and the Wolverines have a difficult trip to Duke looming in a few days on Thursday. So Michigan would certainly like to avoid the 0-2 start at home to its season. Wolverines went 8-7-3 last year, made it to the Big Ten tournament semifinals. It's now year number 11 under Chaka Daly, which is hard to believe here around these confines. Schultz in the middle, a Short Hills, New Jersey native. Another fellow Garden Stater, about 15 minutes from my hometown. Had to get that in there. Miller at the far side works his way towards midfield, now pressured and cuts it back. Schultz, the Garden Stater, in the middle, now leaves for Hoff on the near side, back to Evans on the lip of his box. 10 minutes gone by, and this one's still no score, still no shots for the Wolverines, who outshot Duquesne on Thursday. Buka in the circle, bit of a too rough of a first touch, and Gonzaga controls. Back to Garibay in the back. Another booming kick, trying to lead on his player, angling towards it is Miller. He'll get there first for the Wolverines. Miller trying to let it go out of bounds, and he does. Nice use of his body by Miller. It'll be a Michigan throw-in way back in their own end.
It's good to see the Wolverines making smart decisions like that, drawing plays in their favor, and it's really helped to tamper down the Gonzaga offense. We still haven't seen a burst of offensive energy since the very beginning of the game. Clock at 34:50 now.
Scrum for the ball in the middle, winds its way to Rodriguez on the far side. Rodriguez, it's two-man game, trying to keep it in. I believe he did, and it's knocked out of bounds by Gonzaga, so a Michigan throw. A few Gonzaga players were contesting that one, but to no avail. The throw-in comes in for Rodriguez, spins away from his defender and is spun to the turf. And that'll be a free kick, so second free kick awarded to the Wolverines today. This one in Gonzaga territory, but straddling that midfield line a bit. Rodriguez sends it back in the Michigan end, right on that midfield line for Miller. Rogers, a booming cross. Waiting for it is Buckner, plays it at his feet on the near side. Buckner pressured by Stretch. Schultz comes back in. Gives towards the middle. And an errant pass there, winds its way back to Rogers. Rogers finds Buckner in the near side, waits for it, plays it off his midsection. Buckner rifles the cross in, and a leaping save. It's snared by Garibay. So first real potential chance there for Michigan. See if it can build off that as we move into 12 minutes now gone by in this game.
It's great to see the Wolverines moving the ball successfully, opening themselves up to some potential offensive opportunities.
Nice defensive play back there by Hoff to regain possession for the Wolverines. Schultz in the middle, near side feed goes to Hoff. Hoff works his way towards midfield. A Gonzaga player waits for him. Hoff back to Schultz. Schultz anchoring that defense for the Wolverines. Evans in the net. Swinging left side now, Miller to Rogers. Feeds right back to Miller. Michigan can't get that out of its own end here. Evans, Schultz. Schultz working toward the middle. At the circle, it's Rogers. Rogers drops it off for Miller. He's got green grass in front of him. Back to Rogers near the circle. Nearly falls down. Sends a deep drive down the far side with his left foot. And that'll land harmlessly at the feet of Garibay. Gonzaga up the near side. Buka chasing from behind in pursuit. And the errant feed winds up in the feet of Buckner with some hesitation. Now drops it back for Hoff, and now at the feet of Evans in his second year as keeper for the Wolverines. Made 13 starts last year and played well. 48 saves, a 1.26 goals against average. And earned one shutout as well. Fared well in the season opener, allowing just that lone goal as that kick is thudded into the stands by Hoff, a Gonzaga throw-in.
We've seen a little bit of movement on the pitch from Zach Martins, the freshman from Gainesville, Florida. He stands with 5'8". Went to Gainesville High School. And at midfield, we'll see if he makes a big impact on the field so far this year. We've seen other freshmen on the field as well. Nicholas Kalukian, he had 4 shots and 2 shots on goal versus Duquesne on Thursday. Definitely making his mark known. Not on the field yet for the Wolverines.
2 of the members of Michigan's 7-man freshman class this year. Buckner plays it back for the aforementioned Martins. Now Hoff scissoring his way through traffic. Buckner with a tap and has it taken away by Stretch. Gonzaga the other way, pressured by Schultz into the middle, spinning around Rogers. Bulldogs will now look to reassert control. The kick goes in, and it's headed nicely by Schultz. Pulselli has it. And Pulselli falls down. Now Rogers, a through ball down the far side for Al-Asnawi. He's got green grass, still going, dribbling with the left. Now turns on the Jets. Al-Asnawi on the edge of the box, and is pushed to the turf. It's a play on. Rodriguez almost had the ball back, but Gonzaga recontrols. Pressured by Martins, another knock to the turf. And this time Martins whistled for the foul.
Notable that draws the free kick after we've seen numerous other, I'd just say similar plays. Odd to see that one specifically draw the whistle from the referees, but no yellow card awarded or anything.
No shortage of players who wound up on the turf today. 15 minutes gone by. First ever meeting between Michigan and Gonzaga on the pitch. No score in this match. Free kick used to switch side. It's controlled up the near side by Johnny Hansen. Now back towards the net. Feed it to Garibay. Garibay, dangerous feed in the middle. Intercepted Rodriguez. Rodriguez with the left, and it's deflected. It'll be a corner kick. A late defensive effort by the Gonzaga player kept that one from perhaps finding the back of the net. A lapse by the Bulldogs, and Michigan had a golden opportunity.
What an absolute lapse. Credit to number 21, Jorge Aspas, blocking that one and leading to a corner kick instead of a 1-0 Michigan lead, because that was clear as day. Just an absolute misstep for the Bulldogs.
So Iñaki Rodriguez looking to still convert here, just delayed, as he'll take the corner kick. Rodriguez booms it in and knocked away by Garibay, punched it with the right hand, And a whistle and a foul as well back there. So nicely done by Garibay. Rodriguez put it a bit too close to the keeper there.
Just a tad. The Wolverines unable to convert, but we've seen a lot of offensive pressure, and that's what happens. The Wolverines putting that offense and putting that pressure on Gonzaga, they're bound to make more mistakes. Under 30 minutes remaining in the first half here. Michigan with the majority of the offensive ball time.
And Michigan's first bona fide chance of the match is foiled. 0-0 the score remains. 17 minutes and rolling gone by here. Had a lovely day at UM Soccer Stadium. Crowd continues to filter in. That's knocked in the back. Evans pounces on it, touches it upfield. Martins with the header. Buckner in the area, jostling for it with the Bulldog player, and the Bulldogs have it. Buka fighting from behind. And it's knocked away. Pulselli has it, leaves it for Buckner right near midfield. Buckner swivels back, and now we'll find Schultz in the middle, and Michigan resets. Rogers, and an errant feed there, some miscommunication. Actually, it was on Miller who knocked it out of bounds. Gonzaga throw. Bulldogs come right back, storming through the circle, given the middle. Spinning away from Buka. Buka now in pursuit. Back to the right side it goes for the Bulldogs. Gonzaga looking for its first win of the season. Bulldogs lost 3-1 to Denver. Errant feed there. Buka in the middle. Michigan might have numbers here. Rodriguez up the left side, carving his way through, cuts towards the middle. Rodriguez fires, and it just skirts wide. Right to the left of the net. Garibay dove had it covered, and it just missed by a matter of inches. Nicely done by Iñaki Rodriguez, who continues to create opportunities for a Wolverines offense that's still searching for its first goal of the year.
Absolutely. And, you know, with this sustained pressure, with this offensive possession time, I think it's bound to come, Jared.
2 shots now for the Wolverines compared to just 1 for the Bulldogs, which happened in the game's opening minutes. Martins, the header, into the middle for Rogers. Rogers cuts back to his left foot, back into Michigan territory. Quick give and go with Miller. Rogers searching, finds Schultz in the middle. Quick tap on the near side for Hoff. Hoff's pass deflected, a slide tackle, and fired up is Logan Dorsey.
Now, I'm not exactly sure why. Put a lot of pressure on there. Only drew the throw-in for the Wolverines. I will give him credit for pressuring Michigan. We've seen a good job, especially from Rogers in the midfield, slowing things down to reset every time Gonzaga's pressure increases on their sustained drives in Gonzaga territory.
Michigan throw-in goes awry. Garibay switching fields to the far side for the Bulldogs. Bulldogs haven't really generated much offensive anything either. They're playing hard, they're playing scrappy, and they're certainly playing physical, but no real chances besides that one in the opening minutes that Evans had covered.
Now, Jared, what I can't tell yet is if that's a testament to Michigan's defensive abilities and ability to hold the ball. They're not making too many errant passes, not giving the ball up too much, or if it's just that Gonzaga's unable to slow things down and create an opportunity to have real possession time in Michigan's territory.
Michigan's defense has held its own for the most part. They limited Duquesne to a small number of shots. Just 8 on Thursday, 1 found the back of the net, and so far so good today, but the offense yet to pick up its end of the bargain. Buckner jostling on the near side, able to knock it away for Buka. Buka in pursuit is shoved to the turf, flat out, laid out by RJ Stretch, knocked Buka to the ground, and Buka, who is not the tallest player in the world, is really being tossed around today. But he plays as tough and as strong and embraces the contact as much as anyone out here.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I'd argue that he might be the Wolverines' best weapon going into this season. There's definitely some other names being thrown around there, but Buka is one of the returners to watch. And he will get tossed around, but he's the guy who will get right back up on his feet.
So now a free kick here. It'll be taken by Rogers, more than halfway up the side. So one perhaps conducive to an opportunity here as Rogers will look to boom it in with his right foot. Cluster of Michigan players away. Here it comes. It's a low-lying spinny kick. Didn't get a great feed on it. Knocked high into the air. Played on a bounce. Buka tips it to Buckner down the far side. An errant touch, and Gonzaga cuts in and knocks it out of bounds. Goal kick for Garibay.
The Mesa Blue faithful not happy after watching Buka go down there. You could see some of them were looking for a yellow card on that call because that truly was an aggressive shove.
3 fouls on the Bulldogs compared to 2 by the Wolverines so far. That was RJ Stretch for the Bulldogs, who shoved Buka. Rogers intercepts the goal kick, or Miller rather, and then the pass is knocked away. A bit of a game of pinball emerging. And now Gonzaga looking for numbers, sent behind the defense and running onto it. Up the near side, gets by Hoff and then loses the handle. Buckner chips it to Rodriguez, then the Bulldogs get it back. Toward the middle, lets it rip, and knocking it away is Martin. Buka running onto it, a slide tackle. Buka spun to the ground, but that one was clean. Bulldogs again up the far side. They're going to have another chance here. Deep cross is knocked away. Now right back to a Gonzaga player. Skirts toward the box, sends it across. Dangerous. It's gathered and goes for the toe drag. And that's sent out of bounds harmlessly.
Now Gonzaga, they put together a good offensive push. They're just unable to finish it. Again, that Michigan defense coming through, and a credit to all of them just applying pressure the moment the ball was there. A man in blue was as well.
Demetrius Kigaya for Gonzaga did much of the dirty work there in generating that opportunity coming up the near side and setting up that far side cross. Michigan will look to settle down after that chance. The Bulldogs now have 3 shots, Michigan 2. Martin sent it to the far side, waiting for it is Al-Hasnawi. Rodriguez at the circle, falls down as he delivers the pass behind the defense for Pulselli. Pulselli into the box, Charlie, and it's saved, or blocked rather. That was a weird, slow developing play. I think Pulselli was shocked at how open he was back there with his left foot on the side of the box.
It almost looked like Pulselli didn't really know what to do because he was
I agree. He was kind of so far underneath the defense, it was almost as if it caught him off guard. And now a stoppage here as a Gonzaga player, Wiley Trujillo, is on his bottom on the turf.
It was Gonzaga player Gideon Davis that was pressuring Pulselli. And like you said, he was so low. He almost didn't have the angle to make the pass back up to the higher end of the box for the Wolverines to have an opportunity.
And you get a corner coming, and now some action. The referee is barking at a few players in the middle. And then one more point on that Pulselli. You get him wanting to take it a little slowly, but perhaps in hindsight, and it's 50-50, he may have been better off just ripping it quickly. The corner kick finds its way towards the back of the box. Buckner chased by a Gonzaga player. Buckner cuts back to his left, sends it harmlessly towards the middle, and it's fired out of bounds.
Great escape move there by Buckner under pressure. And back to the point you were making about Pulselli, yeah, he hesitated, and if he had probably just gone for it, we might have seen a better opportunity there for the Wolverines.
Buckner with the throw-in deep down the Gonzaga side. Sends it toward the middle for Rogers. Bit of a sloppy first touch. Now gets it back at midfield for Hoff. Hoff towards the middle. Schultz swinging far side Miller. In the circle is Martins. Halfway through in this first half, Al-Hasnawi sends it toward the middle. Backline again. Pulselli, and it's saved by Gabelli. Now the rip. Rodriguez, he misses. Buka in the middle. Goes wide to the right. 3 chances for the Wolverines. Neither could find the back of the net. Pulselli, Buka, Rodriguez, all there. Rodriguez just whiffing in the middle, but he still had a chance because Buka was right there to get the whiff, and he sent it wide.
Now, that first off, Maize and Blue Faithful are riled up, and so are we up here in the box right now because the Wolverines showing their first true signs of life after a tough loss to Duquesne. Offense is on fire. They're struggling a bit, but at this moment, I am quite confident that they will put their first goal of the season in before the end of this half.
And Garibay is playing exceptionally well in net. The Gonzaga defense, not so much. You sense they're on their heels a little bit. You could feel that this is the time that Michigan needs to capitalize on. They're playing well offensively. Rodriguez towards the middle for Buka. Right back to Rodriguez. Works his way towards the right side. The feed goes to Buckner. Buckner with green grass. Rifles in the cross. And it lands in the lap of a Gonzaga player and then is cleared all the way downfield. It's a foot race for the ball. Dorsey running onto it. Dorsey bursting into the box. Dorsey's cross. Nobody's home. Dorsey was doing it all by himself, and it goes out of bounds for a Michigan throw.
Tough opportunity there. Hard to tell if that was going for the cross or the shot, as it was quite close to the net. I think cross. But like you said, nobody within 50 feet of the box at the moment. Another first opportunity offensively that we've seen for Gonzaga.
And Dorsey was a one-man band on that attack. I think he was at an angle that is very conducive to a cross. He was probably trying for a shot. It looked like a cross and wound up being a perfect cross, the only problem being no one was home. So this game still scoreless, 0-0 in the 25th minute. 5 shots for the Wolverines, 4 for the Bulldogs. A physical, chippy game between two teams yearning for their first win of the year.
Now, something to watch after this drive by Gonzaga is to see the Wolverines pull back and look to reset. We haven't seen too much pressure on the defense, so I'd expect to see them look to get a drive going once they regain possession.
Corner kick coming up for Gonzaga, or throw-in rather. It's launched towards the middle, over the head of Schultz. And now Buka has it. Buka looking for the counter. Here comes Rodriguez bursting up the near side, and Michigan's got plenty of green grass. Rodriguez with the right foot cuts toward the middle. Rodriguez still going. Rodriguez in the box. Rodriguez with his right stumbles, and sliding to make the save is Garibay. Rodriguez just trying to do a little too much there. Took it all the way to no avail.
It's that tough moment where you've gotten by multiple guys already, and you're torn with the, do I make one more move or pass? Rodriguez goes for the one more move and tripped up by a defender. He actually had his hand in the air at the end, looking for some sort of call or foul.
It's just in desperation. Kegaya to stretch, now back towards the back of the Gonzaga defense as the Bulldogs work it left to right. To the far side, now back towards the middle. Michigan's had a few really good opportunities here, but as was the theme in their opener against Duquesne, the Wolverines yet to convert.
Rodriguez.
And Buka knocked to the turf. He was going up for the header with a taller Gonzaga player who effectively climbed over him and is whistled for the foul. Buka a little slow getting up.
That's a tough one to take. Buka's the type of guy to get up real quick, but that Gonzaga player, and it looks like he's wearing number 6, tough to see from the vantage point, essentially landed fully on top of him, sending him to the ground as a cushion.
And so at 27th minute, we'll have a stoppage here as both teams go to get some water. Michigan and Gonzaga 0-0 for the Sunday afternoon matinee in front of a passionate crowd here at U of M Soccer Stadium. Wolverines have 5 shots to Gonzaga's 4. Both keepers have played well. Michigan's offense has generated numerous really strong chances, including a few breakaways and counters.
Jared, I would say, especially in this game, the game of soccer overall, the shots don't always tell the story, but especially these first 20 minutes of play that we have seen, shots absolutely not doing what we've seen on the pitch justice. The Wolverines have had possession for, 80% of the game so far, absolutely dominating these Gonzaga Bulldogs. Gonzaga's defense holding for now. Like you said, they've been under a lot of pressure and they've made mistakes, and it really comes to their back end. Their keeper just holding things together for the Bulldogs. So we'll see if they take this opportunity to reset and change the game plan a bit, because the Wolverines have really had some sustained offensive opportunities all game. Gonzaga, if I'm their coach, we're looking at slowing things down. Definitely want to spend more time controlling the ball in their zone to get a drive going. We've really seen them look to explode. We've seen some deep kicks, but most of those just end up in the feet of Evans in the box. Gonzaga wants to slow it down, get their players down into Wolverine territory so they can really start moving the ball around and try to get it past the Michigan defenders, which they failed to do so far.
And I'm sure Chaka Daly in that huddle is talking about execution here for the Wolverines, converting on those chances, which so far, very, very, can't stress it enough, very small sample size, has been the story of the season.
Yeah, absolutely, like you've said. The Wolverines have had opportunities. They had them against Duquesne. They were unable to convert against Duquesne. I think today's different just because we've seen them get much, much closer to converting than we ever truly did when they were playing the Duquesne Dukes here at the UM Soccer Complex on Thursday. I also would say that crowd and energy plays a factor into a game. I'm not huge on talking about how energy drives sports I really do think it comes down to a team's mentality, but the crowd is here. They're passionate. And these stands are as close to full as I've seen them since the playoffs back in November when we were last here on WCBN.
Both teams out of their huddles just now, ready to retake the pitch. 0-0. Who will strike first, Michigan or Gonzaga? Two 0-1 teams wanting their first win.
Yeah, and sorry to jump in on you there. Plenty of time left on the clock here. We count down in college soccer, so 17:57 remaining in the first half.
And number 32, Boris.
Pair of substitutions for Gonzaga, Loic Boris and Victor Gadea into the game. It'll be a free kick on the far side for the Wolverines, about 63/5 of the way down the pitch. A residual effect of the foul committed on Kevin Buka by a Gonzaga player. Looks to be, can't quite make out who's taking the free kick. I think it's Inaki Rodriguez for the Wolverines. Cluster of Michigan players towards the box. Schultz, Buckner, Pulselli, Buka, Hoff, as they wait for the righty-footed Rodriguez. Rodriguez sends it in. It's a skipping kick, and pouncing on it with the save is Garibay, who picked it up on one bounce. So see if Michigan can keep up the energy that it has coming out of the stoppage. Gonzaga on the far side, pressured, still works his way through. Slide tackle, and an errant slide tackle by Miller. Clipped him instead, did not get the ball. And on the turf in pain for the Bulldogs is Demetrius Kagaya.
If I'm correct, I saw the referee award Miller a yellow card. I'm not sure if I saw that properly. Looks like they will call out the athletic trainers here. As
Kagaya still on the turf, head down.
Yeah, I'll correct myself there. It looked like the referee might have waved for athletic trainers. No trainers have come onto the pitch.
Kagaya still being tended to by a teammate as the ref hovers over. He now bounces off the turf, walking gingerly, but appears no worse for wear as he walks that one off. So it'll be a free kick for the Bulldogs now, halfway down into Michigan's territory. Some activity perhaps coming Hayden Evans' way, and Evans has had a quiet afternoon so far today, which I'm sure is how Michigan likes it. Booming kick comes in, grabbed by Evans. It is a yellow card on Nolan Miller for the slide tackle into Kagaya. Buckner up the near side, booms towards the middle. Buka streaking under it. Buka gets to it, and then it's knocked away by a Bulldog. Martins toward the middle, and a whistle and a foul is going to go on Buka as a Gonzaga player wound up on the turf.
And that's a tough call, Jared. It was Fernandez that fell down as Buka knocked into him. The ball not in the general area, but looked more like an accident than intentional.
7 fouls, including a yellow card now, in what has been a chippy game. That's knocked out of bounds by Al-Hasnawi. Gonzaga sends it toward the middle up the near side. Behind the defense, running onto it is Barris, the sub. Chasing after it is Hoff. Barris sends the cross too far. Rogers can't clear it. It's headed by Al-Hasnawi. Into the middle, Martins boots it away up the far side for Rodriguez, and Michigan clears. And now Rodriguez has it taken right back. Gonzaga onto it. Booming down the far side, Al-Hasnawi chasing after it, and Kagaya can't get to it. It'll be a Michigan throw.
Now on for Michigan, number 11, Bryce Blevins.
2 substitutions here for the Wolverines.
And number 17, Cameron Martin.
3 substitutions, rather, for the Wolverines. Cameron Martin into the game.
And number 19,
So is Oliver Martin. So is Bryce Blevins. 3 substitutions in total for Michigan as it looks to get some fresh legs onto the pitch here with 16 minutes remaining in the first half. Still no score, 0-0 here at the Soccer Stadium. Martin fighting for it. It's tipped by Rogers. Martin's in the middle. Now gives it to Martin. That's not complicated at all. Two Martins and a Martins. Martin, and Martins.
You'll get it down,
see
Jared.
if one of them can generate some offense for Michigan. I need to make shirts of that or something. That'll do well. I'll store that in my idea notebook. Hoff looking for Martin to run onto it. It's knocked away, controlled by Blevins. And then knocked away by Gonzaga. And down on the far side again is Kigaya. And he might have to come out of this game. And this time they're calling the trainer for real. And the trainer will actually jog her way over to the far side, as well as a stoppage here as they deal with Kigaya, who is on his knees on the turf. Didn't quite see what happened there. We saw what happened the first time with the slide tackle that led to the yellow card by Miller.
Yeah, I missed that one too, but it seems like we have a trend here of Gonzaga players dropping down and staying down. No, I didn't see any sort of yellow card issued there. Just a whistle for the player down, and he's standing up now. Looks like he'll walk off the field. It's always hard to judge a person's condition from this high up, but he seems to be moving just fine.
And Kigaya on his feet as he walks off alongside the trainer. You have to believe, though, that after the second stoppage, they're not going to let him continue in this game for now. They'll take him out at least. We'll see what actually happens.
Now on for Gonzaga, 23, Jake Goring.
Bulldogs and Wolverines will make some substitutions here, it seems.
Jake Goring is coming in for Kigaya, who walks off gingerly.
Excuse me, no substitution for the Wolverines.
Just Martin, and Blevins, the three players who came on a couple of minutes ago for Michigan. So it'll be Michigan ball. Out of the stoppage here for the Kigaya injury. Rogers up the far side for El-Hasnawi, has it taken away by a Gonzaga player. Works his way to Miller, who picked up the yellow card. Miller to Schultz in the back, switching to the near side now for Hoff. Hoff with Greengrass, looking for the through ball, finds, or tried to find Buckner, was sent too far. And that'll roll all the way out of bounds for a goal kick.
Looked like it was a little bit of miscommunication there between Hoff and Buckner. I would say if Buckner was sprinting, that ball would have been placed well, but it looked like Buckner was trying to draw the ball,
now
just to himself.
Michigan, number 12, Nicholas Cassidy.
Substitution here for the Wolverines, their fourth of the game. It's the freshman Nicholas Cassidy from Grand Rapids, Michigan. El-Hasnawi takes a seat for the Wolverines, which will switch over Buckner to the far side of the field as Cassidy plays right back on the near side here. And Buckner right into the action on the far side. The header goes awry, winds up at the feet of a Bulldog. Gonzaga pressured by Martin, hounded up the far side, still working his way through. Martin on the turf, and Martin gets to it. Another Bulldog on the turf, and it's knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Rogers. That's Oliver Martin doing a great job there, the freshman from Williston, Vermont.
And we'll definitely see throughout the season, of course, head coach Daly still developing his game plans. We see a fully, or close to a fully different suite of players out on the field, especially the younger players than we did against Duquesne. And we'll see how it plays out with the new freshmen. Quite a few of them have been making their name known already. Sorry, getting caught up. Early WCBN issues.
Just getting into shape here, as are the soccer players on the pitch. Everyone has some rust to shake off. Michigan's offense still trying to unshackle itself from that rust. Knocked out of bounds there. It's a windy day here, a beautiful day. A few clouds in the sky, but A lot of wind going on here. We're broadcasting from outside. It was a little cooler out here than inside the booth. Buckner. And the throw-in is an errant tap by a Michigan player way down on the far side. And it'll be Gonzaga throw now. 12 minutes and 13 seconds and rolling left here in this first half. Someone looking for some momentum heading into halftime as that ball's knocked out of bounds off Buckner's feet. Now last touch by Gonzaga.
We haven't seen any sort of momentum since really the timeout where Michigan was controlling all of it. And it's just been back and forth with small fouls, whistles for players down, and that's really stopped any specific offensive drives from happening for either program. Michigan, of course, hurting more since they were on the run there before the timeout.
And you feel like the stoppage, I mean, you could feel it from here. This game has just kind of gone to a bit of a crawl, a slog, a lot of stop and start. No one's really had any significant opportunities to score in a long time. It's a lot of whistles, a lot of fouls. The physicality has remained, but those chances have dissipated.
Yeah, you could feel the excitement dying down, too, with the crowd. So hopefully the Wolverines can get themselves on a drive, get the crowd going once again, and, of course, get the team's offense back up and going.
Free kick for Gonzaga. It'll be Garibay to take it way back in the Bulldogs' end. He's shown he's got an iron foot so far today. Booms that one. It's headed out of the air by Hoff. Gonzaga chasing onto it along with Cassidy up the near side. And now sent back towards Garibay in the net.
Now Gonzaga's defense under a lot of pressure from Michigan. We'll see that punt come all the way down. Now to the hands of Evans, who will take it. And Gonzaga just really hasn't had that opportunity to slow things down and reset that we've seen Michigan be able to do, which I think is one of the keys to Michigan's success so far. They're without pressure in their back end compared to Gonzaga under constant pressure from players like Buckner or Rogers per se.
Martin with the header in the middle, leaves it at the feet for Blevins. Up the near side it goes for Cassidy. Cassidy with the left foot, crouching towards the box. Cassidy now drags back, leaves it for Blevins along the side. Blevins in towards the middle. Martins, the far side now. Miller sends it along the wing to Buckner. Buckner shadowed by a defender, goes with the scissor kick, cuts it back, sends it toward the middle. It's headed out of the air by a Gonzaga player. And now Michigan resets towards midfield. Up towards the middle, and the through ball goes out of bounds harmlessly. A little too much mustard on that one.
Tough end to Michigan's drive there, but again, I think that this reinforces the Michigan puts itself together better than Gonzaga has so far. It's almost like they plan out these drives and get themselves into position. When Gonzaga, they're kind of scrappy, and it's just not working for them against a team as good as Michigan.
That kick is boomed out of bounds towards the stand. Gonzaga throwing in Michigan territory. Gonzaga at midfield. Michigan applying a lot of pressure. Blevins and Martins are there. So is Martin. And Martins wins it, and then it's deflected by Gonzaga. Player out of bounds. Nice job there by the trio of Wolverines to get the possession back in Michigan's favor. 8:34 and rolling left in the first half. 0-0 the score, Michigan and Gonzaga. Two teams playing with some desperation as they try to avoid 0-2 starts to their 2022 seasons. Miller, pressured on the far side by a pair of Bulldogs, gets it away towards the net for Evans. Evans at his box with a nice first touch. Leaves it for Miller on the far side. Miller with the left foot, and the pass is deflected out of bounds. Last touch by Martin for Michigan. That's Cameron Martin. Throw in for Gonzaga comes in, a burst of speed for Blevins, and he's able to wrestle the ball away. Blevins towards the middle. Rogers chasing after it. He'll get to it first. Rogers up for Martin, who's streaking after it towards the box. Chance developing here. Martin cuts it back, and then a nice recovery by Gonzaga, but it goes right to Cassidy. Cassidy towards the middle, tripped up in the box. It's a play on, and Gonzaga boots it back down the field. So a little burst there, but nothing materializes out of it.
A good offensive drive for Martin, and I liked seeing him pull up. It was a 1v3, 3 Gonzaga defenders against him. It was nice to see him stop and try to reset.
Buckner on the far side towards the box. Buckner with the toe drag. Buckner working his way inside with the left foot, loops it over the top, no one's home. And it'll be a goal kick for Gonzaga.
So 2 what I would call semi-opportunities for the Wolverines. They couldn't get things going, but it was nice to see things starting to come together. And again, you saw Martin looking to make a play. He pulled up on the defense, tried to make the pass there. Things just came apart at the end. And that's a testament to Gonzaga's defense. Like we've said a few times, they're not the best in the game, but they are holding it strong right now. His scoreboard still says 0-0. That's all that matters.
Declan Gaffney into the game, 5th substitution of the afternoon for the Wolverines. Jason Buckner takes a seat. Buckner's played a fine game so far. He'll get a rest for the final 6.5 minutes here of this first half. Goal kick ensuing for Garibay. Garibay booms it down the near side. Cassidy launching a header, a high arcing header back towards the middle for Martin. Goes off his head, right back to Martins. Rogers in the middle, Blevins, Martins. Nice touch up the near side, or far side rather. Too far though, out of the reach of Gaffney. And into the feet of Gonzaga. And then winning it back on a nice tackle is Blevins as he circles the midfield line. Rogers up the near side, back to Rogers now in the middle. Rogers far side feed, running onto it is Gaffney, who's just into the game, into the match. Gaffney with the left foot sends it across towards the back, onto the feet of Cassidy, but he couldn't quite handle it cleanly. Now a slide tackle for Blevins. Rogers back to Blevins, who gets up, back to Rogers in the middle. Rogers will have a shot, and a sliding stop is made by a Gonzaga defender. Schultz now working with Dorsey up the near side. Schultz and Dorsey going at it. Schultz with a nice sliding stop, and he's able to win the battle. It's a Michigan throw. Great play by Schultz.
What a run of a minute there for the Wolverines. Credit to Johnny Hansen of Gonzaga for that great sliding stop on that shot from a Wolverine just a moment ago.
Blevins to Martin. Now to Martin, leaves it for Cassidy, running onto it. The backups here providing a spark, and Cassidy's tripped up. They're going to call it a play on. Must have gotten some ball, but it's out of bounds anyway, so it'll be a throw for Michigan. But Martin and Blevins and Cassidy generating some more chances here for Michigan as this first half winds to a close, under 5 minutes left to play.
And it's notable, those names that you just said, most of them were non-starters for this team. So they come in and start to make a big impact for the Wolverines on the pitch.
And now a corner kick here for Michigan, as that one was knocked out of bounds. It'll be Blevins over to take it. So the chances continue to mount for Michigan. Blevins to take it. And first a whistle. Not sure what the referee is going on about here, talking to a Gonzaga player.
Call over Logan Dorsey specifically.
Dorsey has been fired up today, plays with a lot of emotion.
They also pulled over Jens Hoff of Michigan.
So the corner kick ready for Blevins, the lefty. Booms it towards the net. Getting a head on it, and it's wide, and it's saved by a Gonzaga player, but he couldn't clear it. Knocks it out of bounds, a spinny kick, and it'll be another corner kick, this time on the other side, as we'll do it again.
Michigan's 4th corner kick.
And the 4th one sails way high back towards the back of the net. Charging in is Gaffney. He'll get to it first. He wards off a Gonzaga player, and then it's knocked out of bounds. It'll be a Michigan throw.
Good job by him drawing that tap out to draw the throw in. The Wolverines will line up for this one as if it is a corner kick.
Throw-in sails in from Gaffney. Winds its way to Rogers, left side Miller. Miller low-lying shot or pass, not sure what it was, but it's deflected and kept in bounds by a Gonzaga player up the far side. They'll boom it down as they look for a counter, and it's emphatically cleared by Martins.
Beautiful setup there, Jared, by the Wolverines. And Gaffney has himself in arm. You would have thought that that was a slow-moving corner kick.
2.5 minutes and rolling left here in the first half.
Now on for Gonzaga, 29, Jesse Riodelli.
It's a Gonzaga throw deep in the Bulldogs' end as the first half winds to a close, still 0-0. Wolverines and Bulldogs. Michigan with 7 shots, and the Wolverines have had a flurry of activity, but nothing to show for it, just as was the story in the opener against Duquesne. Gonzaga looking for an attack. Loose ball in the middle, 50-50 ball. Martins with the sliding stop, gets back up. Another sliding stop, deflected by a Gonzaga player, and now coming in and making the play is Cassidy. Pushing up the near side is Martin. Martin running onto it, and a whistle and a free kick is going to be awarded to the Wolverines.
So with 1:30 left before the horn blows to mark the end of the half, the Wolverines have had total possession ever since we kind of came out of that 5-minute slow zone of fouls. We haven't really seen a Gonzaga drive. Frankly, I'm not sure if they've even sustained any sort of possession in Michigan territory.
Rogers will take the kick for Michigan. 65 seconds to go. Rogers booms it towards the box, and skying in the air to grab it is Garibay. Sent back towards the other end. Schultz with Dorsey. Schultz gets a head on it. Cassidy over, gets to the ball first. Rogers boots it back down the field. Martin chasing after it for Michigan, and Martin fighting with the Gonzaga player, and he's a little overzealous, commits a foul. 40 seconds and rolling.
The Wolverines, I'm not one to say jinxing things here, but with 30 seconds left, it looks like the Wolverines will come out of this half empty-handed unless they can really get a late run going. Garibay taking as much time as he can right now, understanding the situation.
18 seconds to go. The goal kick from Garibay goes all the way to the opposing keeper. It's Hayden Evans, gathers with his body. 10 seconds, and Michigan might be content to just let this play out, and it is. So 0-0 at the end of 45 minutes at Soccer Stadium. Michigan's scoring drought to open the season continues.
Now, before we go, I think we have to note that the winner of this half, without a doubt, Johan Garibay for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. This should be, what, 2-0 game right now? At least a 1-0 game. And he has stood on his head. The keeper has kept everything out because Gonzaga's defense has failed numerous times. On the scoreboard they haven't, but the Wolverines have taken advantage of their mistakes. They've successfully created these offensive drives that against any other team, you should have a number on the board, at least that isn't 0. So Johan Garibay, my winner of the first half. For Michigan, I'd say the offense has really come through so far. It's great to see them alive. The defense has done great, they just really haven't been tested. So it's nice to see that offensive cohesion this early in the season, even if it hasn't converted just yet.
Michigan's offense has peppered Garibay and Gonzaga with opportunities, 7 shots and 4 corner kicks, but nothing to show for it at the end of 45 minutes. 0-0 Michigan and Gonzaga. Wolverines, as are the Bulldogs, looking for their first win of the season. So we're going to take a quick break during halftime. 15 minutes halftime. We'll be back in 10 minutes or so. Don't touch that mouse. WCBN Sports presentation of Michigan soccer continues right after the break. Hello and welcome back, everybody, to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan soccer. Second half action coming up between Wolverines and Gonzaga Bulldogs. I'm Jared Greenspan, back for some more alongside a new partner. William Gregory is here, fresh off his, well, I guess you've had enough time to relax from your bike ride to the stadium.
Yeah, the sweat has gone away thanks to this nifty WCBN polo that we get.
Nifty indeed.
It's dry fit, so the sweat wicks away. But ready for my first call of the year with you, Jared.
Well, Michigan is hoping that your first call of the year brings its first goal of the year. 0-0 here. Wolverines yet to score. 1-0 loss at home in the opener against Duquesne on Thursday evening. And so far scoreless through the first 45 minutes in this one.
And to me, it's been a wonder that Michigan is still scoreless. They've basically set up shop on the Gonzaga end, setting up pressure and keeping the ball down towards the Gonzaga net. They just haven't been able to put a ball in. The shots, 2 more shots came in the last 5 minutes of that first half, so Michigan's up to 7. Gonzaga still has 4, and I mean, they barely were by the Michigan goal, it felt like, for that first half to me.
And no shortage of opportunities. You could feel for multiple times, you could feel a goal coming. Was trying to will in a goal, not yet able to break the ice. So away we go in the second half. Wolverines and Bulldogs, an overcast, windy day here for a matinee game Sunday afternoon. Packed house as well, an energetic, enthusiastic crowd also.
The Ultras are out there pretty well this time.
I wonder where they store that drum of theirs.
They were asking us where the cowbell was before the game started.
Yeah, they think too highly of us. Booted back towards Gonzaga's end. First chance of the second half for the keeper, Johan Garibay, who played outstanding in the first half. So far, compiling a clean sheet.
He was great, especially with a couple stops towards the end of that first half, getting out of the box and making a nice save on one corner kick.
Garibay with the goal kick, headed by Declan Gaffney. Good to see Demetrius Kagaya back on the pitch for Gonzaga. Left with an injury in the first half, but controls here on the far side with the right. Tips it towards the middle. Now swings it to the near side. With the scissor kick towards the box. Lefty cross, knocked away by Schultz, the Garden Stater. And Gonzaga recontrols way back in its own half. And then that pass goes awry, intercepted in the middle by Miller, and a sloppy pass from Miller, and he clutches to the turf quickly, clasping at his ankle and trying to get up. Miller's had a so-so game today. A lot of Wolverines have played well. A few errant plays, though, by Miller. The freshman defenseman from Troy, Michigan, and Seaholm High School also committed a foul with a yellow card earlier in this one.
What can you expect with a freshman other than that? But a couple bad passes there from both sides. Gonzaga missed a pass from their own end, and then Michigan missed a pass on the interception that led to another turnover. But we got the ball back now off the foul.
But another errant pass there by Rogers. Both teams still struggling to get their footing underneath them here early in this second half. And there were times in the first half that action was very sloppy and rife with miscues. And so far that has carried over here in the first half, or in the second half rather, from the first half. Martin up the middle, gives to the near side for Gaffney. Gaffney with the left foot, crouching towards the box. Gaffney the cross towards the middle, knocked away. And Gonzaga gets to it first, knocks it all the way back. Schultz charging after it, wards off a player, and finds its way to Evans. And now they'll switch to the near side for Miller.
Like you said, Jared, at the beginning of seasons for a lot of these college teams, it's pretty hard to get their rhythm going until, I'd say, probably halfway through the year. I've seen it with hockey. I've seen it with football. You just don't have an identity this early in the year. Still trying to find who your reliable players are. And
it's also a Michigan team playing a lot of new players. We mentioned Nolan Miller. He's playing time. So does Nicholas Cassidy. They're both freshmen. Oliver Martin, a freshman, plays a lot. So trying to juggle and figure out how those new pieces mesh and fit in and gel, along with the pieces that were lost following last season. Gonzaga towards the middle. Schultz able to knock the feet away. Martin heads it at the circle. And now Gonzaga recontrols.
Gonzaga with a bit more effort offensively. They've been able to keep the ball away from their goalie, Garibay.
And that's towards the middle, streaking after it and shutting him off. And there's going to be a whistle in the box. Jens Hoff came over from the blind side. Dorsey for Gonzaga was going after it. And a yellow card is going to be called on Dorsey. And we mentioned a lot in the first half that Dorsey, in an aggressive game, has been the most physical player by far. And his overzealous nature cost him there. Second yellow card of the game, first for Gonzaga and Dorsey.
Definitely an easy call there for the referees. Everybody knew it in the crowd.
You could tell some of the fans sat with bated breath, perhaps wondering who that yellow card was going to be on, but it was clear that it was on Dorsey. No need for a PK. That would be exciting, though.
There were a couple non-calls in the first half that I think the fans were treading lightly on, getting too excited about a yellow card on Gonzaga. But
Martin makes his way towards the middle, feeds Martin, leaves it for Blevins. Now charging after it is Martins. Can't get to it, and Martin's committed a violation. He's a little incredulous, arguing with the referee, who's had his hands full this afternoon.
That must be tough. Two more freshmen, Martin and Martins.
There's two Martin. There's a Martin, and a Martins. This is the second time I've said there's two Martins, and then tried to say it, and also a Martins. And
I wonder how they keep it straight on the.
They don't pay me enough for this, William. Clarify, we don't get paid. We did this for fun.
$0 to get those Martins' names right.
So the free kick will be taken by Garibay, who's played an exceptional game so far this afternoon. His offense not really doing him any favors, and not really his defense either.
He's been putting in all the work to keep the ball out of the net.
And then up the near side comes Dorson. In towards the middle, knocked away by Miller. Gonzaga warding it off. And Martins was issued a yellow card for the one a few minutes ago where he didn't even think was a foul. So now 3 yellow cards in this game, 15 total fouls. Gonzaga working towards the middle, towards the box. It's Dorsey, he draws the crowd, and Michigan knocks it away. And Miller will look to clear it, but it goes right to a Gonzaga player at midfield.
And you have to think if those 2 fouls on the Wolverines have led them to be a little bit less aggressive defensively, because it seems that Gonzaga has been able to penetrate their end more successfully than in the first, over these first couple minutes here in the first half.
Bulldogs up the near side. Miller in pursuit of Kigaya. Kigaya drops the pass back. It's knocked towards the box. Schultz gets a foot on it, spears it towards the air. Dorsey lurking behind the back line in the box, now takes it out of the box. Dorsey trying to drag it for Kigaya, trying to keep it in, crosses it over out of bounds. And it'll be a goal kick.
Definitely more life for the Bulldogs here in the first 5 minutes of the second half. But I think the sloppy play from both sides is still evident in not being able to really manufacture sustained possessions, losing the ball.
7 minutes into the second half, and there are hardly any sustained possessions. Here comes Martin, drops it off on the near side for Gaffney, shadowed by Kigaya. Gaffney leaves it back for Martin. Switching fields, Martins now. All the way to the far side. Tapped back for Hoff. Hoff towards the middle for Martins. Now Martin. Martin with the left foot towards the box. Gaffney creeping in. Gaffney walled off and sprawling to make the save is Garibay.
I feel like Gaffney's got to make some sort of play out of that. He had the ball off a really nice pass on a nice set from the box, but no decision made. He kind of just dribbled right into a Gonzaga defender and lost the ball to the goalie, Garibay.
That's the second time today we've seen Michigan take a potential chance and develop it really slowly. As Dorsey leaves it for Kagaya up the near side. Back for Dorsey. Lurks behind the back line. Gets into the box. Dorsey with the cross. No one's home except a Wolverine. It's Cassidy clearing it away. Spun to the turf at midfield is Martin. And there's going to be a foul whistled on Gonzaga.
Back to being physical here, and it seems that Gonzaga's kind of taken the physicality from the Wolverines from the first half. It seemed that the Wolverines were over pursuing and executing some good slide tackles on Gonzaga, but they've been a bit more hesitant to be as physical now. Gonzaga called for, I think it's 3 fouls so far in the second half.
A lot of stop and start action as Dorsey plays a 2-man game, and Cassidy able to get in the middle of it, knocks it away towards midfield. Martin can't win the header. Blevins chasing onto it. Gonzaga corrals again. Kagaya on the near side, spinning away from Gaffney and Blevins, and then a tap too far. Martins gets to it, leaves it for Martin. Right back to Blevins. Blevins taken to the turf, and another foul.
Again, you see it from Gonzaga just playing very physically, trying to push the pace from that first half. And they've been able to keep the ball in the Michigan end more successfully than before. Kagaya is still down on the turf, though.
And Kagaya is going to come out of this game. Came out of the game in the first half with that injury after being slide tackled by Miller. Rogers works his way towards midfield, drops it off for Cassidy. Now Gonzaga gets it back. It's Dorsey. Dorsey with a nice through ball, leading his man up the far side. Schultz shadows over. Back to Dorsey in the box. And Dorsey walled off nicely and pushed to the turf by Hoff. And Dorsey continues to lead those offensive attacks for Gonzaga.
He's been very active so far in the second half. Another substitution for the Bulldogs. Fernandez came off about halfway through that first half as well, so he's out.
Gadea into the game for Gonzaga. Ten minutes gone by here in the second half. Not a lot of action. Still 7 shots for Michigan, 4 for Gonzaga. No one's managed a shot in this half. No one's managed a goal in this game. Michigan hasn't managed a goal this season. Trying to find the elusive back of the net to snap that streak.
That first goal should be good enough to let it start flowing, but it seems like they're still hesitant offensively when they get down there. Now they just have not been able to get out of their own end in quite a bit of time here.
Miller in his own end nearly loses the ball, gets it back, sends an errant pass. It's deflected. Gaffney to it. Now Rogers, and now the Wolverines can run. Rogers to the far side, switching fields nicely for Cassidy. He's got a lot of turf in front of him. Cassidy, the freshman, speeding down the pitch. Cassidy into the box. Cassidy with the scissor kick, lets it fly with the left. It's deflected, and that'll bring a corner kick for Michigan. Nice counter there after the ball was deep in Michigan's end.
Just seems like the Wolverines, when they finally get down towards the goal, get a little bit scared. Time speeds up for them, and they can't make a decision when they get down there that seems to be the right decision. The last shot that they had that was close wasn't really a shot at all, and that one just seemed ill-advised from that side of the box with how many defenders were in there.
It'll be Blevins, the lefty, to take the kick for Michigan. Booms it towards the box. The head by Miller, just missed it. Missed to the wide right along the left post. Got his forehead on the ball, could not angle it in. Another solid chance for Michigan, who had 2 shots in a matter of about 30 seconds. Gonzaga works its way towards midfield. Double teamed in the backfield. Martin and Blevins there. Had it for a second, lost it, and the Bulldogs get it back. Switch fields. Gaffney comes in to intercept at midfield. Takes a big first touch, runs with it. Nice job to keep the possession. Gaffney into the middle. Martin with the first touch. Martin swarmed. Still has it and gets it away to Martins, and now Michigan resets. Switching to the far side, Rogers lets it rip. It's deflected, and it'll be another corner kick. This is what happened in the first half. You could sense there were moments where Michigan was trying to steer the momentum. This is another time. They now have 3 or 4 significant chances in bunches.
Absolutely, and Gaffney changed up his approach from the last time he was coming down from the left side. He actually executed a nice pocket pass in the middle, but Michigan was unable to make anything of it as Gonzaga. That swarming defense right around the net has just been trouble for the
corner
Wolverines.
kick looped in. Gonzaga got to it first. Blevins fighting for it, and Blevins pushed off on the Gonzaga player. That was Gidea, and Blevins will be whistled for a foul.
This isn't the right kind of football for a swim move like that.
Not to be confused, even though we're playing on a Sunday afternoon. Not yet. Although you know it is ongoing right now. It's the Snoopy Bowl. Giants and the Jets.
Steelers and Lions, whatever game that was last year.
Not as prestigious as
You
a
can call it a
Snoopy
bowl
Bowl.
game.
Gonzaga sends a nice ball up the near side. Miller does well to get his head on it. Right onto the feet of Rogers. Leaves it for Gaffney on the near side. Evans in the net. Switching sides for Schultz. Now back to the near side. It goes for Miller. Miller to Rogers. Back to Miller. Back to Rogers. Rogers in the middle. Wolverines calming it down a little bit here. A frenetic past 5 minutes or so.
It seems like Michigan's trying to play like they have the lead, but it's still 0-0. They've been very slow in the second half of developing
Wolverines
offense.
playing like a team that is yet to score this year. Evans with the kick. Gaffney missed the header, and it goes right to a Gonzaga player at the circle. Pressured by a number of Wolverines as he works his way back towards the midfield line. Nice touch by the Gonzaga player, and then that one too far. Scooped up by Evans. Hurls the throw quickly up the far side. Michigan looking to catch Gonzaga sleeping. Cassidy, who's generated a few opportunities, the freshman from nearby. Rogers switching fields to the near side. Nice touch at the left foot by Gaffney. Gaffney pressured immediately, and it's knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with Michigan.
The interesting thing so far in the second half is with how often Gonzaga's had possession, they still have not had a shot on goal in the second half as 15 minutes have elapsed so far.
Rogers at the circle. His pass to the far side is intercepted. Gonzaga has a chance for a counter. Through ball towards the middle, looking for Dorsey, and a nice job by Evans to pounce on it on one hop. Scoop it up.
Evans had a nice stop there. That ball looked like it could have taken a worse bounce than it did, but he was able to secure it and keep the ball out of the net. Dorsey was hunting on that one, as he has been for the entire game so far.
And Evans hasn't gotten much action, and perhaps he's been overshadowed a little bit by Garibay, but he has played well as well, just as he did on Thursday against Duquesne.
Well, you mentioned the Giants and the Jets, and I don't know I don't know if the Giants and the Jets defense can be credited for how they play in this game with how the offenses have been playing.
Martin loops it towards the middle. Garibay able to scoop it up.
It's kind of the comparison I can make with two offenses that look a little bit slow today.
And if you're Evans, I mean, it's got to be, and if you ask Evans, I'm sure he would deny it, but it's got to be tough to strain on a keeper to start with, and then when your team's not scoring, you know the margin for error is so razor thin when the offense is struggling like it has to start the season. As Gonzaga works its way down the far side, now loops across in. Evans charging onto it, plucks it out of the air.
He's getting the work now.
I think we reverse jinxed him. Evans will slow things down. He'll roll it to Miller, standing in the box. Up ahead, 10 feet or so to Rogers. Rogers towards the middle in the circle. Martin with a quick touch up the right side. Blevins running with Cassidy. Blevins leaves it for Cassidy. Cassidy working towards the box. Turns on the Jets. Gets by his man. Cassidy into the box. Still going. Cassidy along the back line. Oh, and a save is made. Cassidy was looking to touch it in front. He was right in the box near the post. But as he has all day long, Garibay right there and right on top of it.
And I think Cassidy might have been a little bit surprised that he was still able to keep going.
just kind of scissoring his way through the crowd. Slippery as a butter knife.
And that might have prevented him from getting his head on right and getting that ball out of there, as I don't really think a shot from where he was directly perpendicular to the net would have gone in.
Knocked out of bounds. It'll be a Michigan throw as the Wolverines retain possession. Gaffney to throw in. Martin wards off his man, and then a foul is called on his defender. It's on Wiley Trujillo. So well done by Martin, and now Trujillo lying on the turf, getting stretched out that right leg.
Still a nice crowd we got here.
The Ultras have filled in more than they were to begin the game. A late arriving crowd here on Dollar Day.
Got that second hot dog for $1 today. Felt good.
That second hot dog was very welcome. A welcome development.
They steamed those buns.
Hot dog was good.
Not normally a big hot dog fan. Burgers are superior in a lot of contexts.
You know, I'm just glad I could have a sandwich for lunch. Not to open a can of worms.
It's better than just the breakfast muffin I had before noon today. Take the timeout here. 27:20 remaining in the second half.
Nil-nil. Still. 10 shots for Michigan, 6 corner kicks. 4 shots for Gonzaga, none in the second half, and 1 corner kick. 27 minutes to play here in the second half. From the UM Soccer Stadium, Michigan lost its season opener Thursday. If you were listening, WCBN had the call. Owen Crain, who's getting a reprieve here in the second half, just gets to watch the game.
Owen Crain going to be a workhorse for the foreseeable future for WCBN.
A needed break here. Yeah, load management happens to the best of us.
I'll tell you who won't ever need any load management. Joshua Tenzer. He'll be out for the women's soccer games.
Joshua Tenzer will refuse load management if he's like, I guess real load management, technically the players are paid to sit.
The water polo tournaments he does is like Cal Ripken's Ironman streak. Will never be broken.
I remember waking up at some very early hour for something. Like, we're talking like 6 a.m. and Josh Tenzer sent in our group meet, which we use to coordinate stuff. Water polo sound check.
I came up there that morning to help him do the Michigan game. He had done the entire tournament slate, which included Marist College and the University of Hawaii. He called those games, but shout out Josh Tenzer.
Yes, well said. We're back from the timeout here. Michigan looking for a goal. Gonzaga looking for a goal. Someone's got to get one. I guess technically not, but
I don't have good luck at this soccer stadium with goals. Anytime I'm looking at the field, nothing gets scored.
Well, speaking of the field, William, you tend to the field.
I do. It's my paying job here at the University of Michigan. Shout out to Tony Pell, the head field manager here. Josh Frid, my boss, and the rest of the grounds crew staff. They did a nice job at halftime filling the holes that the players' cleats left on the field.
The field looking spiffy, per usual. Beautiful stadium down here.
They mowed it nice.
Gaffney towards the box up the near side. He'll send the cross in. It's deflected. Winds its way to Martin. He'll have a shot, and it's saved. Ricochets and then is kicked away by a Gonzaga player. But there again is Garibay.
From our angle, it looked like it bounced off Garibay and was going to go in. I had to hold my breath.
It sort of thudded off his chest, and a Gonzaga player was able to clear it out of the way. A host of substitutions for the Wolverines. Buca and Rodriguez, the two captains, back in. Pulselli re-enters the game too, and Buckner. So reinforcements for Michigan.
You have to think that after that timeout, they set up a play for the last 3 substitutions they had. They said, go out there and try and execute it, then we'll sub you out. But whatever they did worked well, whatever they drew up during that timeout.
And a whistle on the foul is going to go on Pulselli, so a free kick for Gonzaga deep in its own end.
And that was the first big chance for either side in this second half to get that good of a shot on net. That was right there. A lot of the other shots have either been ricocheted away or saved, but
Arguably the best opportunity of the game for the Wolverines. As Schultz heads it right onto the foot of a Bulldog, boots it down the far side, and Cassidy does well to get his noggin on it. Buka in pursuit, and knocked out of bounds, a Gonzaga throw.
WCBN starting back up this week. We got a couple women's soccer games, a couple field hockey games we're broadcasting.
A lot of coverage coming your way. If you're looking for coverage of any sport, but particularly non-revenue sports, WCBN is the place to go. Anything that is callable, we will broadcast.
We feel bad about not being able to call the non-callable sports.
Maybe someday we'll find a way to call wrestling on the radio. Not me, though.
Multicast, gymnastics and tennis and golf.
And a yellow card has been issued. That's the 4th yellow card of the game. 2 on each side now. So both teams flirting with danger here as the physicality rages on.
Gonzaga still continuing to be physical. They've had a couple non-carded fouls and then the 2 yellows they have.
Rogers sends it to the near side for Buckner, and they can't handle it cleanly. It'll be a Gonzaga throw. So we're in another lull of the game where either team able to find a rhythm, and these patches keep on popping up throughout this match.
Now one for Gonzaga, number 3, Diego.
Another patch has reared its head here.
Definitely seems a little slower in this stretch. I don't know if early season fatigue plays a part in that.
Rodriguez wards off Dorsey at midfield, skirts around another defender, now leaves it for Martins. Martins to the far side. And now they'll work their way back across the defense. Schultz to the near wing for Miller. Back to Schultz at the circle. And that pass too far outside in front of Cassidy. Gonzaga throw.
We're going to find something to talk about if it's just going to be all throw-ins for the rest of the second half. That's what it seems like. That one immediately headbutted off a Michigan player out of bounds again.
How far do you think you could throw a soccer ball? Throw-in style.
They're just so light that it's hard to judge where they're going. I can get a football a pretty good distance, but a soccer ball maybe.
Not this football.
No. I don't know. I'd have to see. Probably about 30 yards on a good one.
We'll test that out one day. Booming goal kick from Garibay. And a whistle on a foul is going to go on.
Visualizing it in my head, probably 20 yards. 30 was a bit too generous.
Okay. Backing down. Next time you say something, it's going to be 10 yards.
But if I was affiliated with the Daily, I'd compete for your quarterback position.
I like the sound of that.
I just don't write enough articles for you. I don't write any articles, but...
Rogers plays a little give and go with Miller. Now gets Evans into the action back outside his box. Schultz booms it up the far side for Buka, looking to run onto it, and just a little too far out of his reach. It trickles out of bounds. Neither team able to find that rhythm as the clock ticks down, under 22 minutes remaining in this one, as the Ultras try to urge their Wolverines on.
What do you think the best sport would be if all of WCBN got around to play it.
Curling.
Is there a Michigan Club curling team?
Probably. I bet you we would be pretty good at baseball.
That'd be fun. Maybe kickball.
Oh, yeah, we wouldn't lose kickball.
Never lost.
Undefeated. Both teams are the opposite of undefeated. 0-1. Gonzaga lost 3-1 to Denver on Thursday, while Michigan lost 1-0 to Duquesne at similar time. Wolverines have yet to score here in its young season.
So if the Wolverines get the transitive victory over Denver today,
yes,
it avenges the loss in the Frozen Four championship game.
I didn't know that was where you were going.
It's,
yes.
It's something to play for.
Wow.
This early in the year.
I bet, Chaka Daly's close enough where we could shout at him and he'd hear us. So let's see how desperate Michigan gets here as it struggles to score. No score, 0-0, 20 minutes and rolling left, and a vicious, a spectator nearly wiped out on the sideline. The most excitement we have had in a while. Let's run it back for you. We had a Michigan player and a Gonzaga player jostling way on the far side. I believe that's Kevin Buka. I can only tell because of the captain's armband. And they both hit the clay in a heap. And there was a group of students donning maize shirts walking on the clay, departing the game prematurely, I might add, at the same time. And one of them was wiped out by the subsequent slide tackle.
If you're wearing the maize shirts, you can't leave early.
Can't leave early. You didn't even see a goal.
And you got to be wearing normal clothes if you're going to leave early.
Rodriguez, a burst of speed in the middle, drops it off on the far side. Buka at the box. Buka back to Rodriguez, and an errant touch. That was set up perfectly by the pair of Michigan captains. And Inaki Rodriguez is going to want that one back.
And the Wolverines were ready to score once those four
I was
students
going
left.
to say, that would have been incredible
the
if they had scored right when they left.
They cannot ever come back here if they did score.
Alas, it was not meant to be. Goal kick ensuing for Garibay. 19 minutes and rolling left. Another booming goal kick for Garibay. Miller got his head on it, and now a Gonzaga player gets to it, and Schultz heads it to himself. Now loops it back towards the middle. Gonzaga, and it hits Rogers in the face. Dorsey trying to circle under it in the box, but Miller cuts it off.
It's a nice blow there to Rogers. Still feeling it.
Checking for blood and teeth. Looks to be all intact. Garibay in the box, hounded by Rodriguez, boots it down the far side. Onto the feet of Hoff. And now right back to Evans. It's the only way Evans can get into the action these days. Gonzaga hasn't had a shot all half.
Been able to keep the ball in the Michigan end, but no offense resulting from it. And again, it just looks like Michigan is playing like a team that's in the lead, not with a lot of urgency.
Schultz, Hoff, and Miller sends you way downfield for Pulselli, overshot him out of bounds.
That's the third time they've done that in a short period of time.
Just the passes aren't precise to the point where they need to be. Blevins will enter the game here. He played nicely, so did Cassidy, who takes a seat.
I mean, these passes have been so bad that they've looked like icings. But
they do look like icings, honestly. Blevins right into the game and right into the action. Slide tackle for a stop.
That was very smooth by Blevins.
Hoff into the middle for Simon Vasquez, who's into the match. Schultz to the circle for Rogers, who appears to be totally okay. Up the far side, Rodriguez, fancy pass for Blevins, circles under it in the corner. Blevins with the cross over the top. of Garibay, but no one was home. Buckner kept it inbounds in the far side, but lost it. Gonzaga the other way. Dorsey fighting onto it. Way out of his net is Evans, and he knocks it away harmlessly. And now a Gonzaga player is down on the far side. Can't quite see who it is from here. He's rolling over.
He's in a lot of pain there.
And now is peeled off the turf by Buckner. And it looks like he's going to stay in this game. Still can't make out the number. Gonzaga
looks
wearing
like 32.
White jerseys. And a yellow card is going to be whistled on, I believe, Buckner. So that's the 5th yellow card of this game. 3 now for the Wolverines.
A yellow card has been issued to Michigan's number 2, Jason Buckner.
Going back to that last Michigan offensive possession, they've got a lot of things going, coming from the left side against Garibay, but still unable to get it in the net. The shots have looked better as they've been coming so far, but 16 minutes left, only a certain number of chances you're going to have.
And this is when, if you're Michigan, you're probably starting to press a little bit as the clock winds down. Rodriguez with a great tackle from behind at midfield. Vasquez on his feet. Michigan looking for an attack here. Vasquez will now slow things down and play towards the back for Miller. And now Michigan will settle.
And Gonzaga really collapsed on that Michigan push. Had to go backwards to keep possession.
Vasquez in the middle. Up for Rodriguez. Rodriguez the through ball. Puselli on the back line. This could be it. Puselli towards the middle. Buka. Oh, and it goes through. Buka down in a heap. Michigan bungles the 2-on-1. Buckner still has it in play in the corner. Buckner with the cross with the left, and he overshoots everyone. And William, again, hindsight is 50-50. I thought Puselli should have taken the shot.
That was his shot to take. I feel in soccer it's very rare to be forgotten about to that extent, and he was completely forgotten on the backside.
And Buka was running alongside him, but it wasn't a clear 2-on-1. It was like Puselli was forgotten about, and Buka was in a 1-on-1 by himself, shadowed by a Gonzaga defender.
And it seems that if he just could have reached one of those top corners, there's no goalkeeper that could have made a stop in that kind of situation.
And
if it's an accurately placed shot.
It takes a perfect play for Buka to score on that, because you need the pass and the one-timer and to ward off the defender, and you're at an angle.
Here comes another chance.
Doesn't take a perfect play for Puselli to score, as Buka, working down the far side, loses the ball. Gonzaga boots it upfield. And now knocked out of bounds in Gonzaga's end for a Gonzaga throw.
It just seems like a lot of Michigan's decision-making has been what's done them in so far this game. They've had a couple good chances, but it seems at the fork in the road, they choose the wrong side of the road. It leads to a loss of possession or a missed shot.
A whistle on the far side as a Gonzaga player, Dorsey, hits the turf in a heat. He was jostling with Buckner. 14 minutes and rolling to play. 0-0 here at Soccer Stadium in the first ever meeting between Michigan and Gonzaga. Buckner for Vasquez, swings it to the near side for Miller. Miller to Blevins. Blevins back towards the circle for Vasquez, and his pass is awry, right to a Gonzaga player, and then Vasquez returns the favor, gets it back. Blevins feeds Rodriguez, charging up on the near side. Rodriguez dribbling with the left, now the right, in the box. Rodriguez leaves it for Blevins, out in front, knocked away by a Gonzaga player. It'll be a corner.
And it seemed that Hoff was just not in the right spot to receive that pass. Excuse me, Puselli was not in the right spot to receive that pass. It was almost there, but just unable. And again, Gonzaga really consolidating towards the net here on the corner kick. We'll see if Michigan can get anything to come of it.
It'll be Inaki Rodriguez for the corner. Rodriguez flies it towards the net, and nearly having a chance is Blevins. He couldn't get it in. Blevins gets it back, though. Back to Rodriguez on the left side. Rodriguez has it poked away. It'll be another corner. Well, Blevins had a chance, couldn't play it quite cleanly off his chest, didn't get enough force behind it.
And we have seen a couple of those plays where it's hit a Michigan player's chest and it's gone too far, resulting in a turnover, but just not enough force behind that. Really good another chance there.
Rodriguez sends the corner long this time and out of bounds. It sails over the head of Buckner, who was the one Wolverine in the area.
We talked about how many more chances Michigan was going to have in this game to be aggressive, and that series there was a pretty good indication that they're still well within their rights to take it to Gonzaga. They just have to continue to be aggressive. They've seemed to pick that up towards the second half of the second half.
Well, the fans, who have been lively despite the lack of action, trying to rile up the Wolverines and spur that elusive goal. 50-50 ball at midfield, won by Gonzaga. Then the pass is errant. Rodriguez swoops in to grab it. Rodriguez sends it to Buka on the far side, and Buka loses his footing. Buka now trying to get it back, and he does. Rodriguez swoops in, keeps it in bounds, and then knocks it off a Gonzaga player.
Kids in the stands fighting over who's going to give it back to the player for the throw-in.
Rogers, far side. Oh, miscommunication. It shoots the gap in between Buka and Buckner.
Michigan back to where they were in the first half, though, which is a good thing for the Wolverines. They're not living in their own end defensively as they were for much of the beginning part of the second half.
Gonzaga's are taken away. Vasquez, numbers for Wolverines. Rodriguez leaves it for Buka on the right side. Buka slams on the brakes, works his way toward the box. Lefty shot deflected, winds its way out of bounds, and I think that's going to be another corner kick.
And again, that consolidated Gonzaga defense in the goalie box has just been so hard to break through for Michigan.
And there were almost too many Wolverines clustered together there, all on top of each other. That helped to thwart the attack. And now a player down for Gonzaga in the box. Now the player back to his feet. Corner kick coming up for Rodriguez rather. We'll take it, the righty. Rodriguez's last corner was too long, went over everyone's head. This one's a short corner to Buka. Buka's gonna let it rip. It's deflected and out of bounds. Another corner in the same spot, upcoming for Michigan.
So if you could convert 10 corner kicks into one goal, I think Michigan would take that, but you can't. But right now,
the numbers on the board are staggering. 13 shots and 10 corners for Michigan. 1 corner, 4 shots for Gonzaga. Those numbers haven't changed this half. Rodriguez sends it in. It goes all the way towards the back, and a whistle and a foul. Dorsey was knocked through the turf. It's going to be a kick for Gonzaga. Dorsey's frustrated as he works his way back to his feet.
Michigan offense just unable to finish. That's all you can say about this entire game.
Under 10 minutes to play. And Gonzaga content to take things a little slowly here. Garibay with the goal kick. Miller settles under it with Dorsey. Dorsey got his head on it. Then Blevins heads it to a Gonzaga player who booms it towards the net. Moving to his left to scoop it up is Evans. Evans with the roll up the right side. Miller has it. Miller with the pass. Rogers tips it right back. Miller working the far side, and he overshot Buka right to the feet of a Gonzaga player. Gonzaga player Deeks Buka got him in the air, now floats it back toward the Michigan end, and Schultz is there. Rogers down the far side. Streaking under it is Buckner, makes a nice acrobatic stop. Buckner toward the box. Buckner has an angle. Defender falls down, and it's a goal! Buckner inside. Ooh, got it. Can't quite see the number, but he's swarmed by his teammates. Buckner with the beautiful cross. I think it's Pulselli. And the Wolverines strike first, the first goal of the season for Michigan.
And that play was all Buckner. Jason Buckner made a beautiful stop on the ball. He received a great through pass on the right side, almost out of his reach, but he got the right foot just on the tip of the top of his foot, able to stop it, reset, make a nice pass inside, and the goal by Puselli finally puts the Wolverines on the board in the 2022 season.
And just a tremendous cross by Buckner, hit Puselli in stride in the middle, and that started with a long pass up the sideline, and Buckner acrobatically able to corral it high with his leg. A very unorthodox fashion, but it worked, came down with it, cut back, his defender fell, and he had an angle on the far side, and then just sent a picturesque cross in the middle for Puselli. And that has to feel like a huge monkey lifted off Michigan's back.
Number 16, Christian Puselli.
But in order for the sudden feel-good mojo to last, Michigan's defense has to hold strong for 8 minutes and 25 more seconds. They finally scored a goal for the first time this year after being shut out in Thursday's loss and after being held scoreless for the first 81 minutes of this match. And now another opportunity. Buca up the near side for Rodriguez. And Rodriguez slows things down, now accelerates. Rodriguez knifing towards the middle, tries to find Buca. It's deflected, and Gonzaga winds up with it. Spinning away from Martin. Back towards the edge of the box, under 8 minutes to go. That's all Michigan has to hold on for.
On that last possession, you had to wonder if the seal was broken. Rodriguez coming up relatively unabated by the Gonzaga defenders, but now the crowd's getting into it. Michigan has everything with them to close this game out.
Rodriguez to Martin, skirts away from a defender, mid-dodges another, and then is taken to the turf, clutching his knee. And another yellow card has been issued. They tried to get Martins up, but he's rolling over, still in pain.
A yellow card has been issued to Gonzaga.
Lying on his backside, and he'll be tended to by trainers. Now wiping sweat off his brow, and he'll call the trainers away. Or will he? So 7:25 remaining here. Martin's being looked at, talking to the referee as well.
Might just be trying to sell that red card with how many yellow cards
I think
Gonzaga
so.
has received, but looks like it'll just stay the yellow. He's smiling.
And Martins looks all okay. Certainly a good sign. He's played a nice match today. So Michigan just needs to hold on for 7:25 more. And it'll have its first win of the season and avoid the dreaded 0-2 start at home. Gaffney back under the pitch for the Wolverines.
Now back for Gonzaga. 12, Chris Swider.
Gonzaga up the near side. Gaffney and Miller both there, and Miller boots it into the stands. Coming our way. Would you catch it? You want me to catch it?
I'd love to. I'd love to catch it. I was upset at myself. I had a foul ball right close to me the last Tigers game I was at. It's just,
What happened?
Just out of my reach. But you always got to give it to the kids afterwards. That's my opinion.
Roger
is now sitting on the turf, and he's going to need attention. The trainer's getting a workout here.
What's your opinion about that? Do you give foul balls away, or do you keep them?
I would keep a foul ball. At my age,
Yeah, I guess you
my
have to
spry age.
define what the cutoff is of looking a little too old to keep a foul ball for yourself.
I don't know what the cutoff is. We're not there yet. That's tomorrow's problem. Rogers still on the turf, now finally gets up. And he is going to come out of this game. Martin re-enters.
Time has slowed to a crawl ever since Michigan scored.
Slow indeed.
2 minutes of game time and probably 10 minutes.
Now from Michigan, number 33, Daniel Massey.
Throw in for Gonzaga, bomb towards the net. Got a head on it, trickles toward the back, and Massey knocked it away, and then a foul. Massey, junior from Sparta, New Jersey. Not quite my neighbor, but a Garden Stater.
And to answer your question, that looked like about 20 yards on that throw in. That was a nice one.
That was a good throw in. Nice loft. Parabola. You ever have to draw parabolas in math?
I did constructions and geometry. Those actually one
With
of
the
my favorite
compasses?
parts. Yeah, compasses are great.
Buckner keeps it in bounds, or no, he doesn't, says the sideline referee. Gonzaga throw in. Bulldogs playing quickly now. Dorsey taps it towards the middle. Running under it towards the box, sends a cross in, knocked away. Dorsey gets it back, stabbed at it. Now the shot from the point goes over the top of the net. So Gonzaga just firing away now with under 6 to play. Down 1-0.
It's the most aggressive they've looked in the second half so far. Now that they're down and they're needing a score, but the way Michigan collapses into the box to play defense, it remains to be seen if they'll be able to get any good chances on Hayden Evans.
5:35 to play. Michigan up 1-0. There'll be a goal kick for Evans. And another player hits the turf. I feel like I'm getting a little redundant saying that, but this game is molasses.
It has moved as such for the last 5 minutes ever since Michigan scored.
Could not quite tell what Michigan player that was, but he is back on his feet now.
Buckner was the one who hit the turf on that.
It'll be Martins to take the kick. 4:50 and rolling. Michigan more than content to milk the clock here. Martin with the head. Fawford up the near side. Cassidy into the game. Now Schultz with a header, wards off Dorsey. He's been the threat today for Gonzaga. Martin down the near side. Working quickly. Shadowed by a defender. Now dragged by 2 defenders, still on his feet. And then a foul is going to go on Martin, who can't believe it was on him. That ball's knocked into no man's land down the Gonzaga side. A Bulldog chases after it, under 4 to play. Buckner shadows his man. Gonzaga has it, and it's knocked away, and they'll boot it all the way down the field. Buckner chasing after it. Who's going to get it first? Garibay will get to it. Timed it well. Kicks it with the left, right to the foot of a Michigan player. That's Bode Shaw for the Wolverines, and he kicks it out of bounds.
That one's going to be the icing.
And the referee blows his whistle accordingly. It'll be a face-off upcoming. 1-0 Michigan here. Wolverines eyeing it, their first victory of the season. .310 to play. Strong header there by Hoff. And then that's knocked out of bounds.
score update from the stands. Just kidding, it's the first half report that blew away. Wind's pretty good.
The wind has been relatively consistent. Still a nice day. That's looped towards the box. Buckner there. Can't get to it first, but Hoff able to clear it. Out of bounds, it'll be a Gonzaga throw. 2.5 to play. Everyone up way into the box for the Bulldogs as the cross comes in. Hoff with another header. Lands at the feet of a Wolverine. Martin sends it up for Martin, who will chase after it. The one Bulldog back there gets to it. Loops it towards the sideline. Buckner converging on a Bulldog. 2:12 to play. Michigan eyeing its first win of the season. Gonzaga on the near side. Sends the cross back. Buckner whiffs on the boot. And it'll trickle out of bounds. Gonzaga throw.
And if the Wolverines were playing in Seattle, Washington right now, Buckner would not be getting such a warm welcome after that play.
It's been a chippy game throughout. A lot of yellow cards, a lot of physicality. Gonzaga, though, has had just one shot this second half, and Michigan finally snapped its scoreless drought with a goal by Christian Puselli in the 82nd minute. That's headed away. Martin then commits a foul. And this will be a free kick in a relatively good position for Gonzaga. I would say about 10 or so yards away from the box. It's not unreasonable to think Gonzaga could get a shot on goal here.
And it's been incredible with how frantic Gonzaga has played that they only have the one shot on goal in the second half.
And this could be the last chance for the Bulldogs with 65 seconds and rolling left in this game. Here it comes with the left. A loop toward the box. The header over the net. And Michigan holds serve.
It's a very, very close chance. Played nicely by the Wolverine defense on all accounts. Gets that ball out of bounds, and Gonzaga really trying to pick up the pace here, but Evans is going to take his time getting this ball out of the box.
.30 seconds to go. Evans taking his time indeed. Sends a booming goal kick down the far side. 22 seconds left. It's headed by a Gonzaga player. It's going to go out of bounds toward the Ultra Drum. 15 seconds now to play.
All right, Michigan fans, help me count this down.
And the countdown commences.
9,
Buckner with the throw-in. This is all but a formality. The Wolverines get their first win of the young season, a 1-0 win over Gonzaga. The goal in the 82nd minute, a beautiful cross from Buckner, and it was Puselli who found the back of the net for the first time this year and the only time to date for the Wolverines. A great win today for Michigan.
And that last play off that free kick turned out to be the last chance for either team as Michigan really took its time getting the ball out on the goal kick and on the out-of-bounds play. That was it for Gonzaga. They almost had a chance on the header, unable to come up with it. But I think the story of the game is the Michigan offense finally able to put one in with how many chances they got. We talked about the disparity in the peripheral stats other than goals. Michigan finishes with 14 shots, 10 corner kicks. Gonzaga still with the one, and they had 2 shots in the last 5 minutes to end up with 6.
A feel-good win for the Wolverines. They get in the win column for the first time this year, heading to Duke on Thursday with momentum. The offense broke through, the defense held strong. That's going to do it for WCBN sports coverage of Michigan soccer today on this Sunday matinee. For Owen, Crain, William, Gregory, I'm Jared Greenspan. As always, thanks so much for listening, and what better way to close than a good night and a Go Blue.